What if your money could grow tax-free, year after year, with almost no effort? The answer is a simple account called the TFSA, and today we'll break down a real, practical way to use it. You'll hear a lot of big plans for investing, but this one sticks to simple steps you can start this month. This is investing basics for Canadians, explained through a concrete strategy that helps you manage money better and build wealth over time. First, a quick anchor about what the TFSA is. A tax-free savings account lets you grow your investments without paying tax on the gains, dividends, or interest. Withdrawals are tax-free too. That combination is powerful, especially if you're building money for goals in the next few years or for retirement. The catch is, you can only contribute what your yearly TFSA room allows, and you can't claim a tax deduction for contributions like you can with an RRSP. But the upside is the tax-free growth follows you for good, no matter what your income is. Here's a practical plan you can start right away. We'll call it the TFSA ladder. It's a simple, repeatable approach that fits with a busy life and small budgets. The idea is to combine a small cash buffer, a straightforward set of investments, and automation so you don't have to think about it every month. Step 1 is to know your room and set a monthly target. Your TFSA room is the limit CRA tracks for you, and it carries forward if you don't use it. The most important thing is to avoid over-contributing by mistake, so take a minute to check your current room in your CRA My Account and write a plan for this year. A practical move is to aim to contribute a fixed amount each month that feels comfortable. If life changes, you can adjust later, but the habit matters more than a perfect number. Step 2 is to decide where the money will go inside the TFSA. You want a simple core portfolio rather than 100 different bets. A common, effective mix is a broad global stock fund plus a smaller bond component for ballast. For many Canadians, a 60-40 or 80-20 split between stocks and bonds works, depending on your risk tolerance and time horizon. The goal is steady growth with less drama than trying to pick individual stocks. Step 3 is to choose 2 or 3 low-cost funds. The core idea is to keep fees low because fees quietly eat away long-term returns. The simplest setup is one broad global stock ETF that covers developed markets and a second fund for Canadian or global bonds. If you want a bit more risk tolerance, you can add a second global stock fund that tilts towards small caps or emerging markets, but keep it simple at first. The key is diversification, not chasing the hottest fund. Step 4 is to automate. Set up automatic monthly contributions from your bank to the TFSA and to your chosen funds. The automation imposes discipline without you having to think about it week by week. If your income changes or you get a raise, you can lift the monthly amount, but the core habit stays the same. Automation turns investing into a routine, which is what builds wealth over time. Step 5 is to plan for liquidity without breaking the tax-free advantage. A portion of your TFSA should sit in cash or a cash-like option inside the TFSA, especially if you're new to investing or you have short-term goals. This cash acts as an emergency fund you can tap without touching your long-term investments. A quick rule some people use is to cover 3 months of essential expenses in this cash reserve. The rest goes into your core investment funds. Remember, you can withdraw from a TFSA tax-free, but if you recontribute in the same year, you'll need to wait until the next calendar year to avoid over-contributing. Step 6 is to plan annual review and rebalancing. Markets move, and your risk balance can shift as you age or as life changes. A simple annual check is enough for most people. Look at your asset mix, compare it to your target, and rebalance by selling a portion of the part that grew too large and buying more of the part that lagged. Don't overdo it. Small, steady adjustments beat big, impulsive shifts. Step 7 is to understand how withdrawals interact with room. When you take money out of a TFSA, that amount does not come back as new room immediately. It adds back to your room in the following calendar year. So if you withdraw $5,000 today, you don't get that $5,000 back this year. You regain it next year. This design makes the TFSA great for both long-term growth and flexible savings. It's a feature, not a bug, and it's why a simple plan works so well here. Step 8 is a quick reality check on what not to do. Don't chase hot stocks or speculative bets inside your TFSA. If you don't understand the asset, don't put money into it. Avoid trying to time the market for short-term gains. The TFSA rewards patience and simple diversification far more than clever picks. Finally, watch fees. A fund with a 2% expense ratio will eat more of your returns than a 0.15% ETF over time. Now let's talk about what to buy inside the TFSA in plain terms. You want broad exposure, not a collection of tiny bets. One global stock ETF is enough to cover most of the world's large companies. If you're new, you can pair that with a bond ETF for stability. The beauty is you don't have to pick a winning stock to win in a TFSA. You win by owning a broad slice of the market over many years. If you prefer active management, you can choose a reputable, low-cost fund manager. But the simpler, cheap route tends to win in the long run. A quick note on risk and time horizon. If you're in your 20s or 30s, you can afford more stock exposure because you have years to ride out volatility. If you're closer to retirement, you might lean more toward bonds to dampen swings. There's no one-size-fits-all answer, but the TFSA lets you adjust gradually without the tax drag that comes with other accounts. If you want a concrete example in plain language, think of the TFSA like a small garden. The seeds you plant today, with careful watering and weeding, grow into a larger harvest you can enjoy tax-free in the future. You don't get a tax break for planting the seeds, but you won't pay tax on the harvest. The soil, the water, and the timing matter as much as the seeds themselves. A simple, steady plan tends to yield the best results. How to pick a provider or platform without overthinking it. Look for 3 things: low fees, a straightforward way to set up automatic contributions, and a clean interface for buying and rebalancing. Some people prefer a big bank, others go with a discount broker or robo-advisor. The key is to pick one that you can use consistently and that offers you the funds you want at a reasonable cost. You don't need the most flashy setup, you need a reliable one you actually stick with. A few extra tips that fit this TFSA ladder approach. Keep your long-term goals in mind, but don't lock yourself into a rigid plan. If you get a raise or a windfall, consider increasing your monthly contribution to the TFSA, not keeping it in a savings account with zero growth. If your goals change, you can adjust your asset mix or your fund choices gradually rather than making dramatic moves. The point is to stay in the game for the long haul. To recap the core ideas in simple terms, the TFSA is tax-free growth and tax-free withdrawals. You can contribute what your room allows, and unused room carries forward. Put a small portion in cash for emergencies inside the TFSA, and the rest into a simple mix of broad stock and bond funds. Automate, review once a year, and rebalance lightly. Don't chase quick wins, build a habit that compounds over time. One last thought on how this fits into a bigger plan. The TFSA is a powerful piece of a Canadian saver's toolkit, especially when paired with an RRSP or a non-registered growth strategy. You get flexibility now with tax-free growth later, and that pairing can smooth out your finances across different stages of life. The exact numbers for yearly room will change, but the principles stay the same. Contribute regularly, keep costs low, and let time do the heavy lifting. If you found this approach helpful, you can adapt it to your own situation with very little friction. Start by checking your TFSA room, decide on a simple 2-fund core, automate the contributions, and schedule a yearly rebalance. Keep the plan small and steady, and you'll be surprised by how much compounding can do over time. If you enjoyed this, hit the like button and consider subscribing for more practical, no-nonsense finance ideas. I'd love to hear what you're planning to do with your TFSA this year, so drop a comment with your goals or any questions you have. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.